Hello everyone, this is Stephen Balch, your instructor for Legal Environment of Business at Ozarka College. Today what I want to do is go over the chapters 1 through 4 activities with you that I graded yesterday. And so hopefully you've gone in and looked at your grades for those activities and read the grading comments. If you haven't done that, go ahead and do that as soon as you can. But that's the first thing I'm going to do today is kind of give you some feedback on those activities that I graded. And then I'm also going to tell you what we've got coming up due for our next set of activities for chapters 5 through 7 next week. Okay? So first thing is, like I said, I did grade. Actually, let's start off with the introduce yourself discussion that we did the first week of class. I believe it was due Friday of the first week of class. I thought that went very well. I really enjoyed meeting everyone. Some of you I knew from that because you took classes with me in the past, but a lot of you were new students that I haven't had before, so I really enjoyed meeting everyone. Everyone did a good job with that discussion. You really presented some good information about yourself, so we can kind of all get to know each other a little bit to get us on the right track for the remainder of the semester here. But like I said, I really enjoyed that. Hopefully you enjoyed it as well. All right, the chapters 1 through 4 activities. Like I said, I did finish grading those yesterday morning. Most of you did well on the assignment, and I really appreciate those of you that are putting the time and effort in. It's obvious when I'm grading that most of you are actually reading the sources and watching the videos that I link on the assignment page, and that you're actually learning the material and putting the time and effort needed to do well on the assignment. So I really appreciate those of you that are putting the time in. Now, I did notice there were a few of you that didn't quite answer some of the questions completely, so I had to count a few points off for that. Just make sure on future assignments that you're fully answering each part of each question, okay? Most of you did well with that, but there were a couple of you that need to probably make sure that you're carefully reading the question and then also that you're fully answering each part of each question, okay? But overall, good work on the assignment. The discussion that we had, if you remember, dealt with the ethical implications of retroactive liability. We talked about some laws that, some federal laws, especially that deal with environment and cleanup of environmental issues that we might have with health concerns, where we have to have retroactive liability for those in order to for the greater benefit of society. And I also in my post or my replies, I gave you some other examples of laws that are retroactive. But just in general, I think most of you understand that retroactive liability in general is unethical, but there are some exceptions. And that's kind of what was one of the purposes of that discussion, is that in law, there are some basic guidelines that we follow with the law, but there are always exceptions. There are always little things that have to be exceptions in order to have a greater benefit to society, okay? And so that's hopefully what you learned from that discussion. So I really enjoyed reading everyone's comments on the discussion, and I really enjoyed participating in the discussion. Hopefully you did as well. And I'm really looking forward to the rest of the discussions that we'll have over the course of this semester. All right. On the objective test or the chapter test, most of you did well on that. Just as a reminder, though, you can take those tests as many times as you want to up until the due date. So if you don't do well on the first attempt, take it again. keep taking it as long as you feel like you can get a little bit better grade. And also keep in mind that those chapter tests that you're taking during the course of the semester, you'll use those as one of the learning tools or learning sources to use to study for the midterm and final exams. So just kind of keep that in mind. Let me know if you have questions about any of those chapters 1 through 4 activities. All right? All right, let's see. The next set of activities, if we go to the activities page in my Ozarka, right now we are on kind of the final part or the last half of week 2 of this semester. And of course, we just had work due on Tuesday night. Our next set of activities is due next week, specifically Thursday, September 3rd. So you've got about a week, right at a week from today to be working on the chapters 5 through 7 activities and get those submitted. Chapters 5 through 7 deal with something very, very important in business and something that we'll spend several chapters on during this semester, which is contracts. Okay, contracts are ways that businesses make dealings with each other and with their customers and so forth, their suppliers, their employees. Contracts are a part of kind of an everyday part of business that every business has to understand because they will be entering into contracts on a regular basis. So we're going to learn about, in chapters 5 through 7, we're going to learn about the various types of contracts, like sales contracts, employment contracts, service contracts, etc. And in chapter 5 specifically, this will just kind of introduce you to what contracts are and the nature and classes of contracts. Then chapter 6 will explore the offer and acceptance of contracts. There are some very specific legal implications of offer, what is considered an offer in a contract, and what is considered acceptance. And so we'll explore that in chapter 6. And then in chapter 7, we'll look at the capacity to contract. There are certain individuals in society that we deem as being not having the capacity to contract. For example, with minors, there are certain things that certain contracts they are not able to enter into legally. And so anytime you're dealing with minors, you really have to be careful and make sure you're doing everything according to the law. Okay? So capacity to contract is critical because you want to make sure the person you're contracting with can actually legally enter into a contract. Okay? All right. So that's chapters 5 through 7. So be working on those activities. Let me know if you have any questions as you're working on them. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have. And that's all I have for you for today. So enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend. And I will talk to you next time. Thank you.